What if the story behind a familiar face was not scandal, but courage delayed by fear? Behind the applause, the red carpets, and the television smiles, some public figures carried private truths until honesty became the only way to breathe. Tonight, we look at transgender celebrities who changed American culture not by chasing attention, but by choosing authenticity. Watch closely because every story asks the same question. How long should anyone have to wait to live openly and safely today? Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner belongs first because older American viewers already knew her before they knew her truth. For decades, the public saw an Olympic champion, a Wheaties box symbol of strength, a father, and later a reality television figure. That made her 2015 public transition feel larger than celebrity news. It challenged the image America had built around her. Long before that moment, Caitlyn had lived with a conflict she could not easily name in public. Mid-century America offered little understanding of gender dysphoria, and famous athletes were expected to embody a rigid kind of masculinity. She later described years of private struggle, moments of transition-related care, and long periods of stepping back because family, reputation, and fear all carried weight. Her Vanity Fair cover, with the famous words, "Call me Caitlyn," became one of the most discussed media moments of the decade. Some people celebrated it, some struggled to understand it, and some debated the way television handled such an intimate change. But the deeper meaning remains clear. She was telling the world that age does not cancel authenticity. For viewers over 60, her story may hit especially hard. Many people from her generation were taught to endure silently, keep the family image stable, and avoid uncomfortable conversations. Caitlyn's journey says something different. Peace can arrive late and still matter. A person can spend decades performing expectation, then still choose to be seen. Whether viewers agree with every public choice she has made or not, the personal courage of that moment remains impossible to ignore. That is why her chapter still opens so many conversations today. Elliot Page. Elliot Page comes next because his announcement reached a generation that had watched him grow from acclaimed indie actor to international star. Many viewers first knew him through Juno, then followed him into the Umbrella Academy. From the outside, the career looked successful, admired, and steady. Inside, Elliot later described a different experience: discomfort, pressure, and the exhaustion of being seen in a way that did not feel true. In December 2020, Elliot publicly shared that he is transgender. The statement was gentle but firm, full of gratitude, vulnerability, and hope. It was not written like a publicity stunt. It sounded like someone finally making room to breathe. What makes his story especially meaningful is how it continued on screen. In the Umbrella Academy, his character also transitioned, becoming Victor. That choice gave mainstream audiences something still too rare, a storyline handled with calm respect rather than sensational drama. For older viewers, it also offered a chance to understand transition not as confusion, but as alignment. Elliot has spoken about the relief of living openly and the emotional weight that came before it. His journey reminds audiences that success does not erase private pain. Awards, fans, and famous roles cannot replace the simple dignity of being called by the right name and allowed to exist without disguise. His story is powerful because it is not about becoming someone else. It is about finally allowing the world to meet the person who was there all along, waiting for language, safety, and courage to meet at the same time. That honesty continues to move viewers across generations today. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox earns a front position because she did not simply become famous. She changed what many American families could imagine. As Sophia Bursay on Orange is the New Black, she brought warmth, humor, dignity, and pain to a transgender character at a time when mainstream television still rarely offered such humanity. In 2014, Cox became the first openly transgender person nominated for a Primetime Emmy in an acting category. That same year, Time placed her on the cover in a moment described as the transgender tipping point. Those milestones mattered because they moved the conversation from the margins into living rooms, magazines, and dinner tables. But Cox's importance is not only historical. She has consistently used fame to ask for empathy, better language, and deeper understanding. In interviews, documentaries, and public speeches, she has reminded audiences that representation is not only about visibility, it is about being seen as fully human. For older viewers, Sophia's story may have been one of the first times transgender life felt personal rather than political. A character had a family, a job, regrets, faith, and humor. She was not a headline, she was a person. That is why Laverne Cox remains one of the most important figures on this list. She helped turn private misunderstanding into public conversation, and she did it with elegance. Her message has always been larger than fame. Listen before judging, respect before labeling, and remember that dignity is not a special request. It is the starting point for any decent society. That lesson still matters for every generation watching television together. Today, now. Chaz Bono. Chaz Bono belongs near the front because his name carried family history long before he told his own story. As the child of Sonny Bono and Cher, he grew up in public view, with audiences feeling they knew the family from television, music, and decades of celebrity coverage. That kind of attention can make private discovery even harder. Born in 1969, Chaz spent years trying to understand why the identity expected of him did not match his inner life. At the time, there was far less public language for transgender men, and many families had little guidance for what a loved one's transition could mean. The pressure was not only personal, it was generational. In 2008, Chaz began his transition, and in 2009, he spoke publicly about it. The documentary Becoming Chaz later gave audiences a closer look at the process. Medical decisions, emotional changes, family conversations, and the vulnerability of letting cameras witness something deeply personal. Cher has spoken over the years about needing time to understand, while still emphasizing love for her child. That honesty matters. Many older families do not move from confusion to acceptance overnight. They learn, stumble, listen, and keep loving. Chaz's story is powerful because it presents transition not as spectacle, but as a human process. It involves courage from the person living it and growth from the people around him. His public life helped many Americans see that authenticity does not erase family. Done with care, it can invite a family into a more truthful relationship, even when the first steps are difficult. That message remains deeply useful. Michaela Jaé Rodriguez. Michaela Jaé Rodriguez deserves attention because her story shows what happens when visibility finally meets excellence. Many viewers know her as Blanca Evangelista on Pose, the house mother whose tenderness, discipline, and fierce love held an entire chosen family together. The role introduced millions to ballroom culture, trans resilience, and the idea that family can be built through loyalty as much as blood. Rodriguez did more than play a memorable part. She made history. In 2021, she became the first transgender performer nominated in a major acting category at the Primetime Emmy Awards. In 2022, she became the first openly transgender person to win a Golden Globe, earning recognition for the same role. Those milestones were not symbolic decorations. They marked doors that had been closed for too long. For older American viewers, Pose may have felt like a world they had not been invited to understand before. Rodriguez made that world emotionally accessible without softening its truth. Blanca was not written as perfect. She was written as human. Tired, loving, demanding, hopeful, and determined to protect people who had already been hurt by the outside world. That is what gives Rodriguez's chapter its strength. Her success is not only about being first. It is about making sure first does not become only. She turned one role into a cultural invitation, asking audiences to see trans women not as arguments, but as artists, leaders, mothers, friends, and survivors. Her win did not end the struggle, but it proved the talent had always been there. Hollywood was simply late in opening the door fully. Today, now. Hunter Schafer. Hunter Schafer brings a younger voice to the list, but her story still belongs in a video aimed at older viewers because it shows how much the cultural conversation has changed within one lifetime. Before Euphoria made her internationally recognizable, Schafer had already been known for activism, including her opposition to North Carolina's controversial bathroom law when she was still a student. Then came fashion, modeling, and the role of Jules Vaughn on HBO's Euphoria. Jules was not a background lesson or a token character. She was artistic, complicated, impulsive, tender, and sometimes lost, the way young people often are. Schafer's performance helped many viewers understand that transgender characters should be allowed to be as layered, flawed, and alive as anyone else. Her career also shows a new challenge. Earlier generations fought to be acknowledged at all. Younger stars like Schafer often face the pressure of being reduced only to identity, even when they want room to be artists, dreamers, and ordinary women too. That tension is important. Visibility can open doors, but it can also become another box. For viewers over 60, Hunter's chapter may feel like a glimpse of the future. A young artist who grew up with more language than previous generations had, yet still faces public scrutiny. Her story reminds us that progress is real, but unfinished. The goal is not only to know that someone is transgender, the goal is to let her be fully human beyond the headline with privacy, ambition, mistakes, and creative freedom. That is the kind of respect every performer deserves, on every stage. Today, always. Andreja Pejíc. Andreja Pejic's story belongs here because fashion often claims to celebrate beauty, yet still punishes anyone who changes its rules. Before publicly living as Andreja, she became famous as an androgynous model whose look moved easily between menswear and womenswear. Designers admired the elegance, magazines loved the mystery. But being admired for ambiguity is not the same as being free. Born in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Andreja spent part of her childhood shaped by war, displacement, and resettlement in Australia. From an early age, she felt drawn toward femininity, but she had to navigate that truth carefully. When her modeling career took off, the world celebrated her ability to blur gender lines. Inside, however, she still needed more than professional applause. She needed alignment. In 2014, Andreja publicly discussed her transition and began a new chapter under her affirmed name. That decision carried real risk. Fashion careers depend on image, casting, and public appetite. A model can be praised one season and forgotten the next, yet coming forward did not end her career. It deepened her meaning. For older viewers, Andreja's chapter explains an important difference. Being seen as unusual is not the same as being understood. The world may applaud a person's beauty while still refusing to honor that person's truth. Andreja's journey shows that authenticity can sharpen, not diminish, talent. She moved from being treated as a striking fashion mystery to becoming a public example of grace, resilience, and self-definition. Her story reminds us that beauty is strongest when it finally belongs to the person wearing it. Fully, openly, and without apology. Today, always. These stories are not about gossip. They are about courage, language, and the long road toward being understood. Which journey moved you most? The public reveal, the quiet family struggle, or the artist who changed the industry from behind the camera? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments, subscribe for more human stories, and remember, Every life becomes clearer when we listen before we judge. With patience, compassion, and care.